There's a perfume of a million flowers clinging to the...
We interrupt this program to bring you a special news bulletin. The Japanese have attacked Pearl Harbor, Hawaii by air, President Roosevelt has just announced. The attack also was made on all naval and military activities on the principal island of Oahu.
In 2 hours, the U.S. Navy lost 15 ships, 188 planes, and over 2,000 men. For America, World War II had begun.
Yesterday, December 7th, 1941, a date which will live in infamy.
My reaction was one of horror, shock, but then there was an instant feeling of a surge of patriotism in the whole country, and I think I felt that. In Pearl Harbor's wake, we won the war, and thus the peace. In the Cold War that followed, Americans also shed their blood, but we used other means as well. For nearly half a century, patience, foresight, personal diplomacy helped America stand fast and firm for democracy. But we've never stood alone.
Through the frozen fields of Korea, the steamy jungles of Vietnam, the Gulf of Tonkin, the delicate standoff of the Cold War, and the ongoing conflicts in the Middle East with our allies, hundreds of thousands have answered our nation's call to defend freedom and democracy around the world. Today, the sailors serving aboard USS George H.W. Bush are honored to continue the legacy built by the greatest generation, and they continue to work, protecting the freedoms paid for by the blood and sweat of the veterans who came before. And even though the enemy has changed, their mission remains consistent. The aircraft carrier has been, and will remain, the centerpiece of naval power projection at and from the sea. In its 8th year of service, USS George H.W. Bush and its carrier air wing is at sea at this very moment, preparing for its 3rd deployment. They are a scalable, flexible 4.5 acres of sovereign U.S. territory with the naval air power comparable to some nations' entire air force, providing a visible global deterrent presence, expanding and strengthening our network of partners, preserving freedom of navigation, ensuring all domain access, and assisting with humanitarian aid and disaster response.
At this very moment, the USS George H.W. Bush is off the coast of the southeastern United States, conducting its final certification for its 3rd combat deployment. In a few weeks, we will join a coalition comprised of all of the armed forces of the United States and many of our allies and partner nations as we prepare to take our turn to defend democracy and freedom. A lot has changed since December 1941. We now face an emergent Russia and an emergent China who have developed near-peer capabilities in support of divergent interests. We also have the continuous provocative action of North Korea and Iran as they pressurize key strategic areas among the global commons. And of course, there is the constant threat of violent extremism that must continually be addressed until it is eliminated. While the security environment may have changed, the attributes that'll solve these problems remain consistent. And so as we move forward to address these things, we will draw from the example of our greatest generation as we look to move forward and prevail. We will use accountability, integrity, initiative, and toughness, and we will overcome the challenges that face us today. Tom Brokaw once remarked of the generation that came to age in the aftermath of Pearl Harbor and World War II that they demanded no homage from those that benefited from their sacrifice. Well, they may not have demanded that homage, but they certainly deserve it. And I can think of no greater way to honor their legacy than to carry on their rich tradition of service and expand the ideals to which they used to define our great country. We, in the service of our country today, fully realize that we stand on the shoulders of giants. And rest assured, we will stand tall.